Hello, I am the new virtual assistant NTB274LQ, but you can simply call me Luke. I'm here to tell you many interesting stories. It doesn't matter if I'm a robot. My memory card is fully charged. Let's begin. At the point when David Hollister presented a safety belt bill in Michigan in the mid-1980s that exacted a fine for not locking in, the state delegate got scorn mail contrasting him with Hitler. At that point, just 14% of Americans consistently wore safety belts, despite the fact that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration (NHTSA) required lap and shoulder belts in all new vehicles beginning in 1968. If you want, you can stop the video and buy yourself a coffee. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Protection from the life-sparing gadgets at the time was the standard. Drivers and travelers griped that safety belts were awkward and prohibitive, however the turmoil over compulsory safety belt laws was generally philosophical. One of Hollister's associates in the Michigan House called the safety belt charge a really decent exercise in widespread panic made by a corporate-controlled media, and cautioned that the administration would prohibit smoking straightaway. Another said that any individual who decided in favor of the bill ought to be reviewed. Interlock mechanisms to buzzing sounds to automatic restraint systems. The fight over seat strap laws in 1980s America reflected broad analysis of government guideline in a free society. The discussion initially warmed up in 1973, when the NHTSA required all new vehicles to incorporate a reasonable innovation called a safety belt interlock system, that kept a vehicle from beginning if the driver wasn't locked in. A huge political backfire followed, says Jerry Mashaw, teacher emeritus at the Yale Law School and co-creator of the struggle for auto safety. Congress got more letters from Americans grumbling about the interlock mechanism than they did about Nixon's Saturday Night Massacre. Congress reacted quickly in 1974 by killing the interlock system and further commanding that the irritating humming sound that showed an unlatched safety belt could just most recent 8 seconds. Very interesting, don't you think? The NHTSA didn't abandon safety belts, however. It passed another standard in 1977 that put the ball solidly in the automaker's court. Detroit needed to introduce a uninvolved limitation, a framework that worked naturally without driver mediation, that would shield an accident life-sized model from harm when reaching a stopping point at 35 miles per hour. The main genuine choices at that point, says Mashaw, were airbags and something many refer to as programmed seat straps, a front safety belt that ran along a track and consequently affixed when the vehicle entryway shut. Automakers didn't cherish either choice, however chose to go with the programmed seat straps since they were less expensive. Shoppers promptly started contending that programmed safety belts were perilous in a vehicle fire, possibly catching travelers in a consuming vehicle. Car makers consented to include a delivery lock, which drivers could without much of a stretch separate, delivering the programmed belt ineffectual. I know you're confused, but have to continue. Yet, before any of those progressions could be made, Ronald Reagan won the administration on a guarantee of liberation, particularly of the car business. One of the primary things the Reagan organization did was to revoke the NHTSA rule requiring inactive restrictions. Insurance agencies sued the organization and the case went right to the Supreme Court. In an unexpected decision, the judges casted a ballot consistently to hinder the Reagan organization and authorize the NHTSA standard. Calm down. You WIIL spend more time together. You can tell me everything. Just write a comment. The Reagan organization was placed in a dilemma, says Mashaw. They were fanatic deregulators and the Supreme Court disclosed to them they needed to manage. It's absolutely impossible they could legitimize saying that aloof restrictions didn't work, so Elizabeth Dole, at that point Secretary of the Department of Transportation, thought of what I believe was a quick trade-off. Elizabeth Dole's compromise. GIV gave a standard in 1985 that necessary automakers to introduce driver's side airbags in all new vehicles except if, and this is the kicker, 66% of the states passed required safety belt laws by April 1, 1989. GIV's standard was so politically skillful on the grounds that it seemed as though a guideline, however, was actually a blessing to the vehicle business. Vehicles previously had safety belts, so all Detroit needed to do was persuade states to pass obligatory safety belt laws, and it was free for introducing costly air packs or programmed belts. The campaigning was extraordinary, with top chiefs from General Motors and Chrysler, including Lee Iacocca, making an immediate pitch to state lawmakers about safety belt well-being. "The huge radiators were everywhere on over this one," said one Illinois administrator at that point. "They were all taking a shot at us. I haven't seen a bill this intensely campaigned in quite a while." There were even allegations that GM was squeezing states to either pass a safety belt law or be avoided from potential areas for a multi-billion-dollar Saturn plant. GM called the claims completely strange. New York was the main state to pass a compulsory safety belt law, followed by New Jersey. In New York, inability to wear a safety belt brought a $50 fine, which was no little change in 1985. Authorities said that gratitude to the law, safety belt consistence hopped to 70% in New York in under a year, however that didn't imply that everybody loved it. As one Bronx occupant protested, "This should be Russia where the administration guides you and when to do it." Car makers required to install airbags. At long last, the hard sell via automakers missed the mark. At any rate, 8 states destroyed obligatory safety belt laws on philosophical grounds, and of the states who passed them, such a large number of the new safety belt laws didn't fulfill the guidelines set up by Dole's standard. Either the fine was excessively low, under $25, or inability to wear a safety belt wasn't recorded as an essential offense, which means individuals must be tagged on the off chance that they were halted for speeding or another criminal traffic offense. Since qualifying safety belt laws weren't passed in 66% of the states, carmakers needed to consent to Dole's unique guideline and introduce driver's side airbags in all new vehicles beginning in the mid-1990s. "We wound up with both airbags and compulsory safety belt use laws," says Mashaw. There was still a ton of opposition by individuals who thought this was an awful encroachment on their freedom. Individuals were selling T-shirts that made it seem as though you're wearing a safety belt. As of August 2020, New Hampshire was the main state without a compulsory safety belt law for grown-ups, a result of its "live free or bite the dust" libertarian streak. Thus, safety belt use in New Hampshire slowed down out at 70%, contrasted with in excess of 90% broadly. This video is finished, but there are a lot of videos on the home page. I'm going to charge. See you in the new video.